He stepped out of the elevator and found himself on a floor that didn't exist in the building. There was no button for the 13th floor, yet the number hung above the door. Floor 13. The hallway stretched long, lit by flickering yellow lights, and the floor was tiled with something resembling human skin. Each door was labeled with letters, not numbers. He knocked on the first door, which opened without him touching it. Inside, a man hung suspended in the air, slowly spinning. His eyes were wide open, but lifeless. On the wall was written, "This is what those who never admit their mistakes look like." He stepped out, but the door didn't close behind him. It stayed open, watching him. At the second door, he found a lavishly set table, filled with exquisite dishes and roasted meat. Sitting before him was a man who looked exactly like him, but his skin was translucent, veins and everything inside visible. The man said, "Eat this meat if you want to remember who you are." He refused. The other man took a piece, ate it slowly, and then his body began to decay right before his eyes. The meat consumed was his own body. He fled quickly. The third door led to a pitch-black room, except for a circle of light in the center. Under the light stood a black dog with human eyes. The dog stared at him for a long moment, then spoke. "They're looking for you. You are the last one who hasn't signed." "Signed what? On leaving the dream, or entering it forever?" The dog began to dissolve. From every drop that fell to the floor, a black flower sprouted. The flowers opened their mouths and whispered his name in his mother's voice. He left and found the hallway longer than before. The doors stretched to the horizon, and with every step, the wall's color shifted: red, gray, black, then white. Each color left a taste in his mouth. Blood, chalk, ink, sand. He opened a random door. Inside was a classroom. Students sat staring at a blank board. On the board was his name, and below it, the guilty. The teacher stood with his back to him, but he recognized the voice. It was his own. "You were the reason they all died," the teacher said. "Who? All those who saw you in the mirror and didn't recognize you?" The students' voices shifted into sobs, then howls, then unintelligible murmurs. He tried to leave, but the door wouldn't open, lift behind him. There was nothing, no door, no corridor. It's only a huge mirror showing hundreds of copies of himself, each doing something different. One was crying, another laughing, another drinking blood, and one staring directly at him. He shattered the mirror, but the shards pierced his skin. Each piece that stuck inside him showed visions. His mother walking without a head, his friends screaming inside him, child crying, but his tears were fire. He awoke inside a closed closet. Everything was dark, but he heard a heartbeat that never stopped, a heavy pulse, as if the room itself was beating with him. With every beat, something whispered, "You are the one who entered, and no one invited you." He opened the closet door and found himself on a train. Every seat was occupied by someone wearing a mask, but he knew them all. School friends, neighbors, co-workers, ... all dead for years. When the inspector passed by, he didn't ask for a ticket. He just grabbed his arm and said, "You read. The only one who knows the end. We won't allow that." The sound of the train faded, replaced again by his heartbeat. But now, he was in a well, its walls made of flesh. The sky was black. His identity began to crumble. He no longer knew his name, who he was, or why he was here. Every door he opened led to a version of himself whose face he had never seen before. At door number 47, he found a woman claiming to be his wife, and a boy running around the room, but they couldn't see him. He asked, "Who are you?" She said, "We are the memories you deleted to remain here." Then they vanished. He ran, until he reached the end of a corridor that had no end. He stopped. He opened the last door before him. He entered. The door led to a forest without trees, only dead trunks trembling as if breathing. Thick fog covered the ground with warm ash. No sky, no birds, only a whistle like a faint crying echoed from all directions. In the center of the void, a round table held a clock without hands. A faceless man sat before him, his voice coming directly from his throat, but his lips did not move. When you see time stop, know that time is within you, not the place. He placed a black box before him. "Open it if you want to forget why you came. If I don't, then you'll remember everything." He hesitated, didn't touch the box. The man vanished. Darkness engulfed the place. When light returned, he found himself tied to a chair, surrounded by children laughing, their eyes turned inside out. One held scissors, approached him and said, "Where did you put your face?" Then he cut something invisible from above him. His shadow fell to the ground like a piece of meat. In the corner, he saw himself standing and laughing, but his eyes wept black tears. The chair flipped, swallowing him into the ground. He fell into a bottomless well. The walls around him shifted into scenes: a dark room with a sleeping body, an empty street where a dog eats a human hand, a hospital corridor where someone screams his name but he can't answer. Then everything stopped. He was now inside a picture, a massive oil painting painted with blood. He was crucified inside it. Couldn't speak, couldn't move, but his mind worked. Outside, a painter with distorted features dipped his brush into a plate of minced meat and painted a new slit in his chest inside the painting. Each cut, pain. Each brushstroke, a forgotten memory. In one corner of the painting, a small child held a broken mirror. Each time the child approached, he felt parts of his body disappear. His fingers, mouth, ear, even his name. His name was pulled out of him like a needle from skin, slowly, painfully, and in endless silence. Then he became a walking shadow, just a shadow. Anyone who looked at him didn't see him but felt a chill run down their spine. The shadow searched for a new body to inhabit. But he kept entering door after door, exiting to another, returning to a room. With no walls, meeting himself thousands of times, dying, waking in a memory that wasn't his, seeing people he didn't know, calling him by a name that meant nothing. And then he heard the voice again. Open the box. He returned to the table. The box was there. He opened it. He saw his eye. Only his eye. It looked at him from inside, moving, staring, then melting away. Everything turned black again. But he still heard the voice. Now, it has only just begun.